This show is sponsored by APCW Wrestling Academy. Learn wrestling from WWE Hall of Famer Robert Gibson. If you're interested in becoming a professional wrestler, contact them at 770-871-5417 or online at apcwdouglasville@gmail.com. Also, buy Collar and Elbow brand. Save 10% on your next purchase by using our discount code WPNRUSSELL. That's WPNRUSSELL at checkout and get a discount on great collar and elbow products.
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
It's all about introducing new faces to the wrestling world or new talent to the wrestling world. And if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know that that is what we do here. And tonight, we got a new face on the wrestling scene. She's been wrestling primarily in the Mid-South wrestling circuit. Already had matches with and against the likes of Queen Sheba, who some of you would know as Kira Maya, and I guess one of the biggest things would be a match against the current reigning and defending NWA Women's World Champion Jazz, former WWE superstar at that. And I expect nothing more than big matches in the future. My guest tonight, a firebird rising on the scene. This is Nova Phoenix.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
well, thank you for coming on. You know, it's always good to have some new faces and new people to hear from. As I did say in the intro, that is part of the mission statement, if you will, of the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. A quick plug for me is introducing new talent, new faces into the wrestling environment. And I guess while we're here at the beginning, let's do some social media across the board. If you're listening to this, you probably have followed the Women's Pro Wrestling Network to some degree. But if you have not, please go onto our Facebook page, Women's Pro Wrestling Network, all one word, and also a YouTube channel. We've got interviews, podcasts, both on camera and audio content. A lot of matches on there, some video games, if you will. So you know you got stuff that you can really kind of sink your teeth into. If you're Instagram or Twitter, just go WPN Russell. WPN Russell, and that also will work for the website, WPNRussell.com. Nova, social media is a big deal. You want to share some of your social media to the followers out there, because I'm sure you know you always need to get that out. No matter where you are, got to get the social media out.
Yep. To follow me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Nova Phoenix. On Twitter, it'll be NovaFire41. And I honestly don't have Instagram and everything like that yet, but I am working on it.
What? You have to
I'm a little bit behind on that particular thing, but
you're a little bit okay. Well, look, listen. I think we need to encourage you right now to get an Instagram at the very least, because you know, look, you're going to be doing a lot of traveling. You're going to be doing a lot of matches. I'm sure you probably have somebody out in the crowd taking photos and video of your matches while you're in action, and that's probably one of the easiest, best ways that you can get your stuff across. So you got to get that Instagram. I'm just gonna go ahead and put you on the spot now and say,
okay, I promise I will.
There you go. We need to see your Instagram, and we need to see you on Instagram pretty soon, and hopefully everybody will jump on board when you do jump on board. So the wrestling deal, you know, we have to jump into this because it is not an easy choice to make as far as career or life or livelihood, however you choose to define it. Wrestling is not an easy path. I know people that don't really follow it tend to think that it's, it's nothing or something like that. But when you're in it, either in the ring or just around the ring, you get a real respect for it. I'm sure there are other things that you could be doing. So why wrestling? Why wrestling, though?
With me, I was actually born into the business. My father and mother are pro wrestlers.
Okay.
But my father recently passed away in 2013. He was known as Ravishing Ray Evans. So I guess it's like the old stigma. Oh, it's in my blood, and I always wanted to do it. Well, which me is actually true. I've always wanted to, but my father forbidden it because he didn't want his little girl end up with broken bones and messed up hips and everything. But it's the drive, the energy of the crowd that drove me to it. Like, I want this, and I finally get to show that I can be something big and prove. Honestly, in my own words, prove my father wrong, that I can do it just like he could,
Okay. So a lot of this is the drive to, I'll say, both follow in footsteps and prove that it can be done. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yes, very fair.
Okay. So how long have we been doing this now? When did you begin this path?
I started training in 2014,
Okay.
and I guess you can say graduated, but training, but you never stop learning. So all in all, I've been wrestling about 4 years now.
Okay.
And in September will be 5 years. So I'm getting up there and learning a lot as I go.
Well, that's good. That's good. And for those that are listening, I do want to make sure that I put it off. And first off, sorry about the loss of your father, but we do want to put it out there that if you are curious as to who her father is, there is a memorial page on Facebook that you can go to and check it out. That is Ravishing Ray Evans memorial page. Just type that in. That should bring you right on up to it. So if you have any curiosity as to whom she is speaking of, and you want to see some photos of him in action, or in his gear, or just personal photos, you can go right up there and you can check that out. So there we have it. So now the other half of that. Now we talked about your dad. What about your mom? You said that both of them were wrestlers, so we can't just overlook that.
That's true. My mom, she wrestled still to this day, off and on, but she mostly manages now. Her name is Dangerous Dominique. Very well respected. She can be very vicious. And she always inspired me to be the best I can be. Fight for always what I want and earn everything. Don't let it be handed to you, because that's a lot of second and third generation wrestlers get flack about, was everything's handed to you. But I don't want to be that way. I want it to be, I earn every spot and earn everything I get in this business.
All right. Well, that's a good set of advice that she's given to you. And I will say, I did speak with her several years back when I was doing an interview with another person that's pretty close to you, the Diamond Icy, who was a name that we know from the same wrestling circuit. She did manage to make her way down to Atlanta at least once before she hung up the boots. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she to me is more of a, like, one of my mentors and more of an idol for me. She didn't take no crud from nobody, and she was who she is. And yes. I love her dearly for it. She's helped me so much, more than she'll ever know. But I can't thank her enough.
Well, then I think you just did. You just thanked her publicly. So So Icy, I'm sure you're gonna be listening to this at some point. Look, you've just got your thanks. If she didn't tell you privately, she just told you publicly. So that's about as good as it's gonna get. And I'll be talking to you later, Icy. So don't worry. Yeah, me and I. Me and Ice is tight. We had for a good while. She was a co-host of mine for while I was doing the online radio version of this. So yeah, love her to death. Now, did she train you, or who trained you? Now that's important because, as you know, your trainers in the wrestling business carry a little bit of weight. So when you go to show up at a show and people are like, all right, who are you? Who trained you? They want to know that you're solid in what you're doing. So where did you learn the ropes?
I learned the ropes from two gentlemen here down in Texas. One is the Latino Pride, Tejano Kid, and also the professional John Allen. Both have been in the business over 15 plus years. They're really old school style, uh, tough as nails, very tough as nails. Uh, they train me around the ropes, what to do and what not to do, and the rights and wrongs.
All right. So do you feel like you got you a pretty solid education in the rights and wrongs, as you say?
I think I know I do. I continue going to training and keep on learning, and I think I am ready to explore the world. I know I have a solid base.
Mhm.
I know who I am and what I need to do. So, me personally, I think I'm ready to spread my wings and fly with everything.
Okay. Hey, now there you go. That is the hallmark. Being willing to travel. I mean, 'cause let's be honest. There are lots of people in the wrestling business who become very comfortable in just the area that they're in. And I don't want to say traveling doesn't become an option, but that the, the push for travel does not really go far. But maybe that's the best way I can put it. So I mean, it's that you're willing to kind of spread your wings because getting out of your comfort zone and then going some places and learning that style and learning how to work in front of a different crowd and getting new pieces of advice from different people from different areas is always a big perk. So I think that's a huge plus for you, being willing to do that. Do you have anything that is set so far for you to go to, or have you begun making plans for travel?
I have some plans in the works of heading to the New York area, hopefully going back to Louisiana area, basically trying to get out of the state of Texas
Okay.
and getting to learn different styles, getting more knowledge from different people, and just grow as a wrestler in general.
All right. So, I guess that now this is where I asked the common question when people say that they're traveling. When are you making your way into Atlanta? That there lies the next
I
question.
right. I am going to definitely try to make it towards the Atlanta area, get to the East Coast. That's my number one goal. Hopefully by the end of this year or beginning of next year. I am trying so hard.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, very good. Now, all I can say is I don't know what your time frames are in terms of your travel and whatnot, but I will add this: should you make it to the Atlanta area, that Robert Gibson School is here as well. So if you manage to get in, say during the week, uh, perhaps before shows on the weekend or something like that, he does take workers in and give add his 2 cents of, hey, this is how you should do this, this is how you should do that. Really good trainer. So I'm just gonna kind of put that out there that if you manage to get on through, maybe you can arrange it so that you can get you a day in with the guy and then pick up a show on the weekend. Who knows?
Hey, sounds like a good idea. I've definitely tried to get to do that.
Okay, then just want to put that little bug in your ear before you got going. I don't think there's any point in me asking were you always a fan of the business. Sounds like you always were.
Always have and always will.
Okay. Were you always smart to it? I mean, sometimes we hear these stories of being a fan of it, even kind of existing in the family, but not really being educated to what was going on. Were you always smart to what was happening, or did they just kind of leave you like, hey, you'll figure it out?
I guess at first I wasn't smart to it. I'd be completely honest, because I was literally screaming at other wrestlers, like biting their heads off and everything, and going off on them, quit beating up my daddy and stuff like that. I probably didn't get to the smartened up part to about like 9 or 10 years old, when my father finally decided, okay, this is what's actually happening. They're not going to kill me, but we got to do what I got to do. So
well, that was nice of
it
him
was.
to let you know.
I'm like, you kind of told me could have told me earlier,
But would you have understood? If he told you earlier, do you think you would have got it?
Honestly, probably not.
What's-
When I was a little younger, I was a little more of an airhead, so I probably wouldn't have gotten it.
Well, so he was probably doing his best. Ain't no instruction manuals for parenthood, so you're doing your best.
Right.
So we have to cut a little slack for that one. Uh, what were what would you consider some of your short-term goals in the business? I mean, I know right now you're saying, hey, you've worked in Texas, right? You worked in the state of Texas, and now you're
Right.
trying to spread your wings. But outside of just the travel, is there anything else that you're looking to do? I don't know. Work with a particular person, work for a particular promotion, learn new moves. I don't know anything. Is there any particular short-term goals that you have laid in front of you so far?
Uh, Mostly like some short-term goals that I do have is trying to work up in the Oklahoma area, because I heard they had some pretty nice shows and awesome shows. Other probably get to work some of the women that I idolize and look up to, I guess, around the East Coast area, like Lufisto, Mercedes Martinez, a lot more. Just to get out and travel, see the world, like go sightseeing or anything like that. Just a lot of stuff.
Well, now you got to work fast and hard to get those two. I mean, you talk about two names that's been in it for a while, and I don't know.
Oh, I know.
I don't know what their bump card is like anymore. How many more
Right.
matches they got left in them? I mean, LaFisto seems like she's in it for as long as she can hang in there, and for that matter, so does Mercedes, who I
Mhm.
absolutely love. I adore Mercedes Martinez. She was one of my first interviews back in the day, and she was a real sweetheart. But yeah, I'm really amazed that she's still kind of kicking right now.
Well, I guess I should say those are more like not long-term goals, but
Hmm.
goals that I want to hit is face girls of that caliber.
Okay,
Because
okay,
yeah, like short-term, mostly it's just, to be honest, just to get out of the state of Texas.
okay.
To be completely honest, and then maybe, hopefully, maybe about a little bit longer than that, try to get to where I can face those type of girls where they've been somewhere, they've been in the business for so long,
Hmm.
and they can show me and teach me different things, and probably kick my butt at it by doing that. But uh,
Well, hey,
but
nothing wrong with that. Not in your line of work. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, that's kind of a check mark. You know.
yep.
So the safe thing there is to say that not necessarily them, although getting in the ring with a Lufisto or Mercedes Martinez would be great, but the underlying thing to that is having people of that caliber, whether that be
Right.
Kimberly or I guess Jessica Havoc, those girls that are looked at as the top tier talent of the industry. That basically what you mean there.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Like, I mean, just getting a chance to work any of the top tier girls would be an amazing experience for me, and I'm working so hard to get to that moment.
Well, there's several of them available, kind of floating around. I mean, that the names change because some people get picked up by the Fed. Some of them go to Japan, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think there's a number of girls out there who might fit your criteria if that's what you're looking for. Like Kimberly just returned back to the Indies, so there's a very good chance that you might cross paths with her or at least be in the same locker room. I mentioned Jessica Havoc a little bit earlier. Kiera Hogan has been a star on the rise, Impact Wrestling knockout at this point. That, so you got a number of names, Jordan Grace,
Right.
so on and so forth, that you can kind of cross paths with, and I would even say Shiva, who I know you've had a tag team match with. She was kind of pushing in that direction as well.
Right. Yeah, she was a really great competitor. She's very strong. She's very, very tough.
Hmm.
And we actually had a singles match here in Palestine, Texas, and she had my number for a good while. She literally showed me the ropes. But I came out victorious barely.
Really?
That's all I can say. Barely won.
Okay. Now is that match
But
out floating around in internet land somewhere for fans to
uh,
see?
I think it is. I'm not sure, but I know I've seen it, but I'm not particularly sure it was on the internet somewhere.
Hmm.
I'll probably have to find it myself again.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to be fairly sure in saying that some of the people listening here may not be totally familiar with you. So, in light of that, for someone who has never seen you or not heard of you, who is Nova
Right.
Phoenix?
I'm 6'2", tough as nails, at Amazon that is willing to face anybody, anytime, anywhere. I'm loving, caring, but when it's time to face each other in that ring, it's go time. If you want to beat me, you got to fight me for it. You know. Uh,
All right, 6 foot.
and it's more of a. I'm not like all the other tall Amazons. I love being in color. I love all the fancy prints and everything, but I'm gonna look good while kicking your butt.
Is that your plan? Just look good while kicking somebody's butt.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay. So we got a 6'2" Amazon and powerhouse, assumably.
Yes.
All right. Now the name. Where did the name come from?
Well, actually, it was me and Diamond Icy were sitting at my house one night.
Mm,
I told her I wanted to start wrestling, but I wanted a name that didn't match my father's name.
okay.
So me and her actually went on a website. Can't remember which one it was. That you put in like a certain name that brings out the meaning of a different word, and Nova Phoenix came up.
Okay.
And we played around with it in our heads, said it like a bunch of times, and I fell in love with the name.
All right. Now you fell in love with the name, but are you married to that name? Now I asked this solely because in the last I don't know I'm gonna say the last month and a half, there have been a number of ladies that I've interviewed who have gone through this evolutionary process. Uh, Aja Pereira used to be known as Super Prayer, and then after she came back from Japan, it was changed over to the extraterrestrial Aja Pereira. Strange and deranged Dimension Rose has changed her whole deal to the weapon of mass destruction, Double D Rose. Kira Maya, who you just talked about, or we just talked about a second ago, is now basically going under the name Shiva because Booker T said, "Hey, you need something that sounds stronger." And I say all that to say this: how married to the name are you? Is say if you walked into a promotion and the promoter's like, you know what, you remind me of something else. I think you should try this.
I'm not really. I love the name, but I'm not married to the name.
Mhm.
If something comes up better and it fits, then I'll use it.
Okay.
A name to me, it, like you said, it pronounces who the person is and how strong and perceives to get the people's perception of somebody. But me, it's more of actions speak louder than words. So, but like you said, I'm not really married to the name. If I get like a totally different name that actually fits better, I'll take it.
Okay. So that was one. That's a question for the promoters out there, in case you happen to wind up in somebody's promotion. I mean, it could be a case of exactly what Shiva went through. You might just wind up at Booker T's place, and he may have something that, like, hey, you know what, I think this works better for you. Or in the case of Dementia Rose, she went to a seminar, and Jimmy Jacobs said, you need to embrace this thing that you're doing, and the strange and deranged thing doesn't fit. You need to change it. So things like that. But
Hmm.
I think it's a plus for you that you're willing. You're willing to bend it or change it or alter it, or you're willing for the evolution, the process. That's always a good thing. Uh, Speaking of evolution, it seems like you had gone through a couple of incarnations of your appearance. Uh, have you found your look yet? Have you found what Nova Phoenix feels like yet in terms of your gear?
I think I'm almost there. I
Mm,
haven't quite figured it out yet, but
okay.
I know I'm very, very close. I used to come from uh, something I totally should not have been wearing.
All right. Well,
uh,
let's talk about it now, because hey, this is the podcast. You are on the Rights and
oh
Wrongs of
yeah.
Pro Wrestling podcast.
I came from wearing spandex, spandex shorts, cut off top that didn't fit quite well.
Okay.
It was like sort of like a sports bra, but it tied around my waist and everything. And I went from that to a jumpsuit, which I still have. It's black and green with the phoenix on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going into trying to get myself into better shape and health wise to where I can start wearing a little more of the risque stuff, the shorts, the tube tops, kick pads. I'm getting really close. I'm just working on that last part.
Okay. Well, look, I believe in you. You'll do it. Next thing I'm gonna turn around, you're gonna start wearing the tops and, as you say, the risque attire. So you know, it was announced here first. That is the aim. Now,
Yep.
now what about there was a point that you had like some face paint and stuff like that. So where did that come from? Was that in the phase of I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still looking for what's going to click.
Right. It came from, I guess you could say, trying to figure out what Nova Phoenix really is or who I really am.
Hmm.
Because I've seen like a lot of people use face paint.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a pretty cool idea, but after a while, it just didn't click with the fans, and I had a bunch of fans come tell me, Nova, it's not working. You don't need the face paint to be who you are.
Okay.
So after a good while, I was like, oh, yeah, I agree with these fans. It's not working. So I decided just to deliberately cut that out completely.
Okay. Well, hey, look, this is the stage where you're supposed to be going through this, where you're supposed to, hey, this is the trial and error point, and you're figuring it out, right? So
Right.
there's no shame there. Now, there's also a different look in it that you had for a while. I'm not really sure how to describe that. I can't say belly dancer, but you had like a mask that's in red and black. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so all right. So what was this phase of the process that we were going through?
I think it was the beginning of the phase changing
Okay,
because a lot of people here in Texas don't really use masks.
okay,
So I was thinking, okay, maybe something totally different, like out of the blue, people would not expect. So I tried that for a while, and I thought it worked at first, but as I started like evolving and changing gear and multiple times, I'm like, okay, this mask is not working no more. Like it's not me. So I just like the face paint. I just deliberately just cut it out completely.
okay. All right. Well, so you at least knew that. All right, this is time for the change here. This isn't gonna work. You self-aware. That's the term I'm looking for. You at least self-aware enough to figure. All right, maybe this shouldn't work here. And it seems like with the looks, and I'm just judging this off of the pictures, but it seems like with each look, he may have had a different personality because I'm going off of the ones that I kind of took snapshots of, so I could be able to bring it up later. Uh,
Hmm.
the mask. I think you had like a plain white mask at some point. And
Right.
in my mind, I'm like, that doesn't sound anything like what you're presenting to me now. I mean, I look at
Right.
that and almost like, would you even speak coming out to that? I mean, where was that when you were doing that one, that gimmick?
Um, it was more of the beginning of my career.
Hmm.
I didn't really talk much.
Okay.
I was coming out like the silent, deadly, evil person that came out, and I don't talk.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna put the hurt on you. But it just like I said, over time I saw it just dwindling and wasn't working, and like different times I wrestled, I wore like a white mask or a red mask or a blue mask, and it just didn't seem to catch on. So like the black and red one, I just finally had enough. I said, you know what, none of this no more. I'm just gonna try something completely different.
Well, maybe the timing of that was off. Cause see that reminds me of like '80s slasher movie. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I look at that and I think Halloween, Michael Myers. Or so,
Yeah, I did too. I saw some pictures of myself like that. I'm like, I am not in Halloween. What am I doing?
well, see now here you go. If you had maybe come out with that gimmick this October, when the next Halloween movie comes out, which is supposed to be a big deal, who knows? Now it might have caught.
Mhm.
I don't know. You had the you already had the imposing size. You got the mask. You could have could have played that strong solid type maybe. I mean, we moved away from that now, but I'm just saying
Right.
perhaps the timing of it wasn't necessarily what you needed for that. I also see kind of the Harley Quinn thing that you had going there. I don't know if that was just a Halloween deal or
Yeah, that was more of a Halloween
okay,
Battle Royal kind of thing.
okay, and I also see that maybe this is the latter stages of the makeup or the face paint kind of going away, crawling to the ring with what appears to be somewhat smears of paint across the face.
Yeah, that was right after I got rid of the mask part.
Mhm.
Uh, I wanted to do something different than most girls do.
Okay.
Like a lot of the girls here, they just walk straight to the ring. I just want to be something like intimidating. But myself, half the time couldn't even get back up every time I did it. But I'm like, so I just got tired of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like, okay, we got to do something totally different, because to me, in my opinion, wasn't working either. So, and like I said, evolving to what I know I should be, it's taking a little bit, but I know I'm going to get there.
Okay, well, it is a work in progress, and that is the path that it must be taken sometimes. And I can tell you, having done these interviews a number of times now, that you aren't alone in that. I actually should forward you the clip of Aja talking about the evolution track that she took, going from one thing to the next. I mean, she put it all out there. What she calls her bad gimmicks and all. She talked about them up until where she is right now. You look at her where she started, and you look at where she is today. It is a complete difference. So no shame there. You
Right.
shouldn't feel bad about that at all. I have to give myself a mental note to sing you that video. So far, you've done Texas and Oklahoma, correct? Or have you done
Right.
Oklahoma?
I haven't done one in Oklahoma yet, but that's the short-term goal, is to get there to the Arkansas area, basically states around the state of Texas.
Okay. And then you'll kind of move on from that. Do you have a home promotion or a promotion you consider home at this point?
I actually have two
Okay.
home promotions. One is APW in Cleburne, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Great crowds, fun shows. I also have DFW All Pro, based out of Haltom City, Texas. Electric crowds. They let you know what they feel about you, and it's just an electric feeling I always get. It's like, it's not nervous, but it's like excitement. It's like, yes, I get to perform in front of these people again.
Okay.
And I'm going to love every bit of it.
Now, Icy had a promotion at one point, correct?
Yes, she did.
Did you work for her?
At the time, no, I didn't, because she actually had it a couple years before I started.
Okay.
But she started, she had a couple of shows, I would say about 7 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for her then, but not the one back a couple of years ago. No, that was about a year or so before I started.
Okay. But when she relaunched it, you did do a shot for her at that point.
Oh, yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Well, I know she said she's, I guess, since kind of closed it down. And who knows if it's going to come back around this time. I don't know if she really has the drive for it at this point. But if it does, I'm assuming that would probably be regarded as somewhat of a home base as well.
Yes, it definitely will be. She usually puts on great shows. Usually draws great crowds. So if she ever did start back up, it would probably be the top one home promotion that I would use for myself.
Okay. You have won a championship already, and normally I ask people, are they trying to be favored by promotion and carry the mantle as champion, because that's always I'm not gonna say always, it's usually a big honor coming from the promoters having that kind of faith in you. But I did see a picture with you with a championship belt. When did you win that?
That was actually it was 2 years into the business. It was actually against Diamond Icy. It was her championship title that she defended against me here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I beat her for it. It was a long, hard battle. She wasn't light on me at all. But it was a great match. And like Shiva, I barely came out on top on that one.
but
She gave me
ultimately,
all she got.
barely, but you ultimately came out on top.
Right.
Well, see now that's what counts. You know,
Right.
especially when I'm calling the matches, that's what they say. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. You won. So there we go. If you are going to tell any of the people out there listening uh, about a match that would really describe who you are, or better yet, if you were going to show them a match that could show what you could do, what match would you point them towards?
It'd probably be two matches actually,
Okay.
and then the one me versus the current NWA Women's Champion Jazz,
All right.
and also the one-on-one match I had with the professional John Allen. I know a lot of people are not too keen on men versus women, but he pushed me to the limit. They both pushed me to the limit, more likely, and they brought the best out of me.
Okay. So those would be the two matches that if anybody can go and look them up, those are the ones that they should look up.
Yes, sir.
Promoters
Definitely.
and fans alike.
Yes,
Okay. And we're expecting you only to get better from here on out.
definitely.
So how was your experience? I mean, with Jazz, because as you just said, you're talking about former ECW star, former WWE women's champion, I think twice, if I remember correctly, and current NWA women's champion. That's a lot of experience that you would kind of stand across the ring from there.
Right. The match with me with against her was, I guess you can say, exciting and daunting because like you said, there's a bunch of experience standing in front of me, and I guess you can say there's a little nerves in there too, because I'm like me thinking, okay, she's gonna kick my butt, but she's a world class athlete. She is tough as nails. She has no problem step in the ring with anybody. So it was an honor to be in the ring with her. That one I didn't come out on top. I lost that one, but I would love to get in the ring with her again, and it was just an amazing experience for me.
Well, I also understand that you tagged with her recently. Icy was kind enough to send me a video with the two of you tagging. I can't remember the young lady's name that you went against. I know one of them was referred to as the Lioness, and I forget her partner right now. Uh, you have to fill in the blank for me there, and I apologize to both of them if they happen to hear this. I'm sorry, but could you what were your opponents' name? You tagged with Jazz and
I tagged, yeah, I tagged with
Alejandra.
Jazz.
Am I saying her name right? Alejandra.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
Hollinger the Lion and Queen Uju of Nigeria.
Uju.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Uju, yes.
I wasn't gonna be able to pronounce that right until you said it. So yeah. Okay. Queen Uju. All right. So that was a pretty big match too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was me and Jazz versus Alejandra the Lion and Queen Uju of Nigeria in Haltom City for DFW All Pro.
Okay.
It was a very hard hitting match, is what I can say. They didn't back down. They're really tough competitors, and they gave us a fight, and they were ready to fight, and that's what they gave us. But we all ultimately we won,
Mm-hmm.
and we stood victorious.
Well, yes, I did see that. Ultimately, you two came out on top, and apparently, Queen Uju and Alejandra had some enemies backstage because they also took a beating following that. So that that wasn't too fun for them. Apparently, or at least it didn't look like it.
Nope.
But now you went from this is the case of wrestling makes strange bedfellows. You went from being the challenger to the NWA women's title which I'll get back to in a second, to being the partner of the NWA Women's World Champion Jazz. And that's I don't know how far apart those matches were. I think it might have been a year or something like by that time, but still.
Yeah, I think it was a year and a half they're apart from.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's enough time. Yeah, I can see that. But now let's rewind this, because getting a championship match for the governing body, which is the National Wrestling Alliance, is essentially perceived as a relatively big deal, and somewhat, I don't want to say difficult to do, but there is a uh, order of protocol, we'll call it that, to get the match. Do you know how you acquired that shot? I mean, because as you said, that was, you're relatively new into that, and here you are, standing in the ring as the essentially the number one contender to the world's title, at least for that day.
Right. To be honest, at first I wasn't even told it was for the NWA Women's Title.
Oh.
I just went in there just to wrestle Jazz, and I didn't know until I got into the ring, and when the ref held the belt up is when I found out.
Oh, really? So they didn't even tell you that, hey, you're going in for the title tonight?
No, it did not. I was just, to me, being in the ring with Jazz was more important. It was more of an honor than going for the title. But it was an actual shock when he held the belt up. I'm like, okay, this is gonna get real, real quick.
Okay. Well, that's that's interesting, and that's an interesting time to find out. I can tell you that. I mean, I would at least think that they would tell you before you walk through the door or something. Hey, by the way, this is for the title tonight. Good luck. Something.
Right. But I'm grateful for the opportunity. If she'll ever let me have another chance, I would work for it. I would bust my butt to show her that I am ready again. But the one chance that I got was really amazing, and I'm very grateful for it.
I can imagine. I mean, again, it's not something that in most cases comes around pretty easily. So just the fact that you had it seems like it would be a big deal. That's just my opinion. Particularly with the NWA having gone through the changes that it's gone through in the last year or so, the change of ownership and so forth. I would think that that might have some play in who gets shots and this, that, and the other. Although, the NWA champions, I mean, the NWA channel on YouTube hasn't really reflected the women's title as of yet. Maybe it will somewhere down the line. Who knows?
Right.
But speaking of that, I mean, I don't know if you're aware. Is Jazz privy to saying, "Hey, look, I defended against who I want," or to the best of your knowledge?
To be honest, I really don't know how who shows Jazz who her challenges are.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know about, to be honest.
Okay. No, I was just curious. I mean, because as I was talking about, I was like, you really do not see the NWA channel make any mentions of any other title right now other than the world's title. It's the sole focus of that channel. They don't talk about the tag belts. They don't talk about the United States title. They don't talk about the women's title. They exist, but they're not acknowledged.
Right.
So it just crossed my mind. It's like, I wonder if the champions themselves at this point are given the leeway, just like, hey, all right, hey, it's for the belt tonight, or whatever the case may be.
Right. Well, to be honest, like I said, I don't know how that's done. I would clearly don't even know. So I'm hoping maybe one day the NWA will actually start showcasing me tag title, especially the women's title, especially how the women's division is evolving and changing over the past year or so. So I'm hoping they'll start showcasing them more.
I would hope so too. I mean, it would be nice to have, say, your title shot be acknowledged within the annals of the NWA. Uh, it your match would only be bigger once they acknowledge the championship and the lineage of the women's title on their page. It only give you a little bit extra oomph as well.
Right.
So I'm going to assume that Jazz is probably one of the people that you've learned a ton from in between the ropes. I mean,
Oh.
that's just a guess. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong.
I learned she's one of the main ones I've learned from. When a match against her, I learned a lot about myself.
Okay.
And my craft in wrestling, what I need to work on, and how I need to be, and how tough I need to be. Because, like I said, nothing's handed to me, and she proved it. She's like, if you want this, you got to beat me for it, and that's basically what I learned from her is hard work will pay off.
Well, Jazz is still going, and she's still going hard. Uh, Tell me about your match at Final Judgment.
Oh, I was in a five-way elimination match
Okay.
for the number one contenders. Well, a spot in the final match is next Saturday coming up. It was me versus Cowgirl Kissy, Divinity, Wild Thing Raquel Vaughn, and the librarian Paige Turner.
Okay.
It was a little really hard match to beat. All them girls, they came after me first because I am the tallest woman wrestler, and yeah,
Okay.
and actually I am the tallest in the state of Texas. So yeah, they target me most of the time, but I quite didn't make it to the end. I was the third one eliminated. I was double teamed.
Oh.
But yeah, they're tremendous athletes, but I quite wasn't there just yet. But I plan on learning from my mistakes in that match and hopefully going for the title in the next number of months.
Do you have any idea time wise how long you were in the ring?
Usually, I think they told me about 8 to 11 minutes.
Okay.
Between there. They know I gave me an actual number, but I know it's between 8 to 11 minutes.
And you
and then I was eliminated.
And then you're eliminated. And you also put that match up on your YouTube channel, correct?
Yes, sir. I actually haven't done it quite yet, but I will do it tomorrow morning because I have been having phone issues, and I just finally got another phone, so
Okay.
I'll definitely put it on there tomorrow.
Well, then, for those that are listening that are curious, we already talked about some of the matches that you can look at with Star Nova Phoenix. But if you want this particular match, you may need to go to her YouTube channel, check that out. A 5-way elimination match, and that might have some interesting goings on there for you. You can see how long she lasted. She did the 9, 10, 11 minutes in there before she got double teamed and ultimately eliminated, which is a shame. Who double teamed you?
Miss Wild Thing herself, Raquel Vaughn, and Cowgirl Kissy. They both hit me with a finisher, and they both basically dogpiled on top of me so I wouldn't kick out.
Now, is that fair? Are you
apparently in a 5-way elimination, it's fair. So
dogpiling, hey, I called my fair share of matches here, and I'm not sure of the dogpiling thing. Maybe I haven't called enough 5-ways or 4-ways and stuff like that. It seems like that would seem a little bit unfair, but perhaps the rules were a tad laxed that day.
Well, maybe like, give a little credit to them. The two young ladies are relatively a little bit shorter than I am. So technically, the two of them makes one of me. So I guess that's fair. I don't know. It's just that's where they got the idea from.
Could be. That sounds reasonable logic. Now the question: Did you put out anybody before you went away?
Yeah. I put out the Princess of Darkness herself, Miss Divinity. She basically, she tried to cross-body me off the top, and I caught her into a big power slam and I pinned her.
Okay. So we had Divinity go out, Paige Turner went out, then you were double teamed, and it came down to the Cowgirl and Raquel. Who ultimately came out on top in the end?
Raquel Vaughn had Kissy beat, but at the last moment, Kissy had some spark and some fire in her, and she turned it right around and beat Raquel with her double underhook finisher.
Okay. So now the question is, if I'm understanding this correctly, the order of operation would be Cowgirl Kissy now gets the shot at whatever championship that may happen to be. But at what point did you decide that, hey, I want to have some words with the winner of this match?
I'm hoping maybe soon after whoever the winner of the finals is, because I want the first shot.
You want the first shot?
Like I know I can beat the person, whoever it is. The other person who's in this match is the megastar Angel Blue.
Okay.
She was in the first 5-way elimination for this particular spot, and she barely beat me, but because she had her little goons come out here and distract me, and she turned around and popped me and basically pinned me and beat me. She hit me with something.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that doesn't sound fun, but I would still think, even though the ideal thing for you to say would be like, hey, I want the winner, that you would have some words with Cowgirl Kissy for the double team for causing you to get eliminated in the first place.
Right.
And she don't look all that tall, so that might be an imposing conversation that you may have with her.
Yeah, I might have to.
Just walk up to her one day and say, "Look, me and you got to talk about this dog piling that you did on me in this match." That's just me. That's just my question. My perspective about it. Is there any championships out there that you're looking to gain besides the one that you just kind of alluded to there? I mean, because I'm going to assume that has to be one.
Oh yeah, that's the big one that I want to strive to get.
Mm-hmm.
There's others. There is the APW Women's title, of course, that somehow eluded me too. But also there's a couple more in the Austin, San Antonio area. The Double X division, which is the women's division for Inspire Pro. There's the ACW Joshi Championship, which is their women's division. So there's quite a few that I want to strive to go and get.
Okay. So it is about getting the championships. You are ready and willing to carry the mantle of the title for whatever promotion may have you. That sound fair? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. It is.
All right. When you got into the business, did the independence surprise you in any way? Was it everything that you thought it was going to be? Was it rougher? Was it lighter? Was it like, oh, this ain't so bad? Or was like, man, this sucks?
The indie scene for me, I expected one thing, but it turned out to be a little bit rougher than I thought it would be.
How so?
But I guess like I told before, the being a second and third generation wrestler, you're expected a certain level, and when you don't meet that level, you kind of get criticized a little bit more than you're than what you think you're going to get criticized for.
Okay.
But over the time, the past 4.5 years, I learned to take the criticism I get and make myself better, and try to strive to be at the top where where everyone wants to see me at.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit rough at first, but I kind of got my groove in and decided, you know what, I want to hit these goals or even be even better.
All right. Promos and interviews and on camera work. Have you begun doing that yet? Because that is probably as important as anything in the wrestling business at this stage. Have you started cutting the promo?
I have. I've done a bunch of promos for DFW All Pro to promote the show, promote the matches that I'm in. The camera work, not so much. Not yet, anyway, I should say. I should take that back. I'm wanting to try it. I'm not sure how it will work very well, but I'm willing to learn how to be better.
What do you mean you don't know how to work so well?
Well, sometimes with me, it's like I stutter or I forget what I'm doing or what I'm talking about, have blank moments.
You don't sound like that at all. You seem very comfortable. I mean, I don't know if it's just because this is an audio interview or not, but you don't seem as if you would lose it.
I think it's more of but yeah, I think it's because audio and that kind of stuff I do great on, because a lot of people are not watching me. But when you stick a camera in my face, my mind goes blank sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing? Hit me in the head or something and tell me what to do. But I'm getting better at them. Just not quite there yet.
Okay, well, now that is part of the business. You got to get there.
Yep.
Doing the on cameras. You certainly have no problem yelling at the fans. I've already seen that.
They started though.
They started with you.
Yeah, they started it sometimes. Sometimes it's me, but mostly them.
Okay, now I don't have to give you time out or something. They started it. That's I know they started it though. You can't yell at them all.
Okay, I promise I won't this time.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have Ice check in on you so she can give me the report.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, now you have a cell phone. You got the camera on there. So when can we expect for you just to go get your, they sell these little tripods for your phone. You can hook that thing up, get into a well-lit room, and start cutting some promos. So when can we expect to see No Phoenix's promos appear on Facebook and YouTube and so on and so forth?
I have some of the promos I have done already.
Mm-hmm.
They're already on my Facebook. On the I haven't done any for the YouTube channel yet, but I usually do a promo or so for shows coming up. So if anybody wants to see my promos, they're on my Facebook page. You can view them and let me know how I do, or give me your opinion, or whatever you want to do.
Okay, so you're willing to accept the criticism right now of, hey, you can. And before we even open that up, let's just say we're talking about constructive criticism here. Let her know, hey, what you like, what you didn't. You could do this better. You did this great, or whatever the case may be. Is that what you're talking about? They can do that with you.
Yeah, they can just let me know how I did and just give me advice or anything that I can work on. and work on giving constructive criticism that can help me be better than I am doing now.
Well, I think for the benefit of cross promotion and such, I think we can have the Women's Pro Wrestling Network to have a little bit of participation in that. If I assign you a promo, not class, what's the word I'm looking at? A promo project, we'll call it that. If I assign Nova Phoenix a promo project, could you produce it?
Yes, I could.
You could. So
Yes, sir.
all I need to do is just come up with the subject matter and say, all right, I need you to talk about this for a minute and a half or 2 minutes or whatever the case may be. You be ready to rock the mic and get on camera and deliver the promo.
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, I like that. I'm going to take the line from Barney and How I Met Your Mother challenge accepted. So you should expect now. This is in podcast now. This is going out. This is all documented for people to hear. So I can't go back on my word now. I have to deliver some sort of promo project for Nova Phoenix to do, so we can see if you can deliver the goods.
I'm ready to take the challenge.
All right. Well, when this is done, I will produce something and we'll hook that up so we can air that on the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. I look forward to being able to do that, and it gives me another way to introduce you to the audience that we have here. So I think it works out both ways.
Yeah.
All right. So now just don't lose your nerve on me now. I need you to.
Nah, I won't.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure if I brought it up before. I don't remember, but just in case I didn't, and even if I did, let's hit it again. If promoters are looking to book you, how should they go about contacting you for work?
Usually what I do for getting bookings is just contact me on Facebook Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Just go on there or use my Twitter page, NolaFire41, or Facebook.com/NolaPhoenix, and just send me a message and let's talk business.
All right, sounds good. And along with having you a promo project, we'll be looking out for you to make your appearance in the Atlanta wrestling scene at some point.
Yes, sir. It's one of my goals this upcoming year.
Okay, well, I guess all you need is just the listing of the promotions, and I'm sure some of them be hard asses about I don't know you yet and all that stuff. It happens to everybody every so often when I pass the names out. Who is this? They are, for whatever reason, most promoters, and I guess I can't fault them all, but they wait until you become a star on the independent scene before they decide they want to do something with you or whatever the case may be. So, but we'll still work on it anyway. We'll still pass your name on. See if we can get you down there.
It's time for random questions.
I also do something on this show, which is called Random Questions. You know what those are?
Okay.
This is the segment of the show that I just ask some stuff just for the fun of it. Not necessarily all wrestling based, but just to kind of change the momentum of the show, if you will. So, Ms. Phoenix, are you ready for your random questions?
Yes, I am.
So here we go. What's a non-wrestling event that you enjoy?
The NFL and the NBA.
When lounging around the house, what else do you enjoy doing? I'm not talking about TV now, but
Dang, that was my number one answer. No. I love reading books. If I have a good series of books, I love reading them.
Have you read the Dark Phoenix saga from Marvel Comics?
No, I have not, actually. I'm more of into the horror and mystery type of series.
Okay. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter.
All right. How do you feel about Toys R Us closing?
I'm sad. I grew up with that store. I grew up that store.
Well, no, I'm sad too. I'm a little heartbroken that they're closing their stuff. What's another profession that you really want to try?
Veterinarian. Probably the other profession I would like to do.
Now that's different. That's a far cry from pro wrestling. Okay. Well, there we have it. I wasn't expecting those. Now, just to circle back around for the non-wrestling event that you enjoy, NFL, has it ever crossed your mind that, hey, you know what, maybe I should play football?
Not really, no, because I'm not really coordinated throwing a football that well, so so it's not anything I expected to do.
Well, you could fit on the line, and it's not like they wouldn't train you on the way you did. Same way that you're doing now. You train for wrestling, and from what I understand, depending on the division that you're getting into, so some of them would train from scratch. If you have the athletics for it. Now, I need to point out before I go further with that, because I know some people out there are listening to be like, oh, I know what you're talking about. No, listen, that first off, the Legends League has evolved outside of their, I guess what we'll perceive as a somewhat sexist presentation over the last few years. They've evolved from Lingerie League to Legends League, from having girls run out there in lingerie to sports attire to almost a full-on uniform. Can you imagine that? So, I mean, that could be a route to take. Now, I don't even know if they even have that in the state of Texas at all. But do they have it that you're aware of? Or any female football league for that matter?
I really don't know. I haven't really heard of any female football league, but not to my knowledge, no.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe one of these days, and you might be able to get some cross promotion there and there. You can go in as the wrestler girl going into the football deal, opposed to the other way around. Normally, it's football invading wrestling. You could do the reverse.
Right.
Now, we've gone through the random questions portion of the show, and now we're coming on to fantasy booking.
Fantasy booking.
Fantasy booking is the segment of the show that I say I am of the belief that every pro wrestler has at least one storyline that they kind of have tucked away in their brain, that they can say, look, this is the angle that I want to do, or the storyline that I think we should try, or whatever the case may be. So, Nova Phoenix, I ask you now, what is your fantasy booking? These are bookings for yourself, mind you. This is the only caveat to the segment. These are bookings that consist of you and someone that is alive. So in other words, you can't turn around like, I booked myself in a match with Eddie Guerrero, something like that. It has to be, it has to be somebody that is alive, and you got give me the whole storyline breakdown, if you can think of one.
Only one I would like my ideal storyline. It's kind of not a bad one, but it's like I want to be like against Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
She is honestly the top woman right now in professional wrestling.
Yes.
And I guess the storyline would be like the underdog, like the true underdog, versus the queen, as they say, of wrestling. So that would be like how to build that up. Like I can beat you at your own game,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be my perfect storyline. I would love to do.
Okay. So you're looking to step in there with the queen of I don't know if I can even call it pro wrestling. Well, queen of sports entertainment, I guess.
Right. Let's just say that. Yeah, you're
Right.
right.
That's probably the safer bet. Now, normally I add in my 2 cents to these things. I add in, hey, this is what I think you should do, or this is the storyline that I just came up with out the blue, or something along those lines. Now, I say, being that you are the 6'2" Amazon Nova Phoenix, weapon of destruction and whatnot, I think that having you come in as a hit woman for a good manager and a promotion will do the trick. Has somebody who's just been humiliated and embarrassed by whomever, uh, for the purposes of this story, let's just say Charlotte Flair. You know, she's embarrassed somebody. She's beating them up. She's got her hands on the Weasley manager and had her way with him. And this person has sworn revenge. And I'm gonna get somebody that's gonna put you through the ringer. And lo and behold, one day out the clear blue from behind, there is Nova Phoenix that comes in and just bum rushes her and beats her to death in front of the worldwide audience. Introduced there on the platform, standing over the lane body of Charlotte Flair, and then we kind of pick up from there. So now we got the angle kicked off following a big attack, and those attacks have to continue at least for about let's say 3 or 4 weeks. That Charlotte, for whatever reason, cannot find air or opportunity to get even until it's match time. And this is where it comes on to where she gets to show the world that Nova Phoenix is a force. And that's how we kick it off. Now, where it goes from there, that's a whole different issue.
I actually love that. I love that.
Well, see, that works because you can slot in anybody. You can say you put Tessa Blanchard in that spot in Impact Wrestling. You put Kara Hogan, and now my personal favorite for that would be somebody like Aja Pereira, who is a superhero type persona, which would be great for her. Is on the Indies. It's an achievable match. She, like I said, she could beat up Tragedy Ann, who is out here, and Tragedy can go out of her way to say, I'm gonna find somebody that's gonna embarrass and humiliate you the same way she did to me, and then we pull out the hit woman, Nova Phoenix.
I love it. I feel like you're better than mine.
Well, I do these quite often, that when I do these interviews, I have to be able to be on my game enough to give my version of what I think should happen as well. It's all about the pitch. You have to pitch it well. So I'm glad that you enjoy that, and maybe, just maybe, we have a promoter out there that can make those things happen.
I'm hoping so. I should say, I'm hoping so. It's like,
well, I mean, look, you already got the size, got the strength on your side. I mean, if there is nothing else that you can sell, you have to sell that. You have to sell the fact that Nova Phoenix is a powerhouse, and she's
right.
a
Definitely.
powerhouse Amazon mountain of a woman. There's not a female walking the wrestling world that could knock me off my feet, or whatever the case may be. And that alone, I think, is gold. Do you not agree?
I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you do. Final words, Ms. Phoenix. Would you like to share anything with your fan base out there, or to tell them anything new? Recap where they can find you online, or give thanks and et cetera, et cetera?
My final words should be thank you everybody for listening tonight. I am about to hit the road, start traveling more. If you would like to see me, come to different shows. If y'all need to know where I'm at, you always can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Nova Phoenix, or Twitter at NovaFire41. Or if you like to see any of my current or old matches, you go to YouTube/Nova Phoenix and you'll get to see my current matches that are up, and also some of my older stuff. If you like to leave any comments, constructive criticism, go ahead, feel free. I'm willing to listen. And thank you everybody for the love and support I've been given this past 4 years. I've taken it to heart, and I thank everybody so much.
Fantastic. Now, you know that just to add my 2 cents in there as we go into the social media platform, hey, you guys out there, please go check out and support the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. This is the entire reason that I'm able to do these things, is because of the support that you've shown so far. So please don't stop doing it now. If you want to get more content such as this, more videos, more matches, more on-camera interviews, more podcasts, go and subscribe on whatever platform you may see it. That'd be YouTube, Facebook, which is all Women's Pro Wrestling Network. Everything else is WPN Wrestle. Do either one of those, it should bring you right on up. If you're unaware, then just go to the website. Go WPNWrestling.com, and that is the nexus for everything that is going on with this brand. You can hit that, and it has links to everything else. So that should be good for you to go. Also, I will make it a point for those that have sat and listened to the entirety of this interview. I will deliver to Nova Phoenix her promo project for her to do. That should give you some entertainment out there to hear her do a promo at your whim, and then you can leave whatever comments that you may have, if you have any, as to how well, good, bad, and different that she may have done. I am going to thank you, everybody, and I'm going to thank you for Nova's sake for tuning in and listening to the entirety of this podcast. Be sure to tune in for other ones, and I would like to see if I can get Nova back here, and maybe a couple of months' time for an update. What do you say about that, Nova?
Hey, I'm all for it. Willing to do it.
Well, that's good. We're going to be looking out, and maybe we get that update and see how well she's progressed. What's changed, what hasn't, did she get that traveling in, etc. So y'all stay tuned for that. And I think that is going to cover it, folks. So for me, for Nova Phoenix, for the Women's Pro Wrestling Network, I want to say thank you for tuning in to the podcast, and so long, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the WPN's Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. If you have questions or comments, please contact us via our Facebook or our YouTube channel at the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. If you're new to the WPN, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like our page. We appreciate your support. Thank you again for listening.